good. Okay. Episode 1 of F1 Talks. Uh, this episode, I want to talk. Oh, let's have a discussion where we voice our opinions. Um, Lewis Hamilton going to Mercedes. It's not Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari. I am conflicted. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think on the interwebs. What am I? God, that sounded like really millennial core, which ooh, anyway. Uh it's really cold. But yeah, let's talk about Sir Lewis Hamilton. Um I'm conflicted because at the one hand, I let me talk about one side and then the other. I want him I obviously want him to win his eighth, arguably ninth, but we won't get into that. I want him to win his eighth, which as it stands right now, as of December, so not December, as of October 30th, 2024, it seems like Ferrari is his best bet. They've been good, but I'll talk about that. They have a good car. They've won 2 races back to back, Austin and Mexico, and all in all, it just seems like the car is headed in a direction to win a championship. Um, but again, I would want him to do it with Mercedes. Mercedes, it doesn't look like they have a good plan. Um, but at the same time, you know, does Lewis Hamilton still have that Hamilton factor? I think he does. I mean, he showed that in Silverstone. He showed that in Belgium when the car was good. But at the same time, so did George, right? George was also performing really well. So I don't know how much of that you can attribute to Hamilton being Hamilton, and how much of it is just the car was better. And at the same time, Ferrari's doing good now. Mercedes was doing good then. So is Ferrari really that good, or are they just good now? Like Mercedes was good at that time, right? So that's where I'm like, I don't know. Um, and I again, Ferrari is very Ferrari is very hit or miss. Let's be frankly honest. They're not consistent. They start off good, then they have like sparks of oh my god, and then they're again. And another issue that I have with Lewis going there is Charles. Now, if I can find the tweet, I'll put it up. But there was a tweet from not tweet, but like there was a press conference, and then Benotto said like he wouldn't have taken him. Again, I am biased as a Carlos fan, but see, the thing is, now that I think about it, is you know with Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, like okay, let's say they're in a position to win a world championship, drivers championship. Who are they going to prioritize? Because you have to prioritize one, you can't prioritize both. And my fear, which I think will happen, is if they're in the same car and the car is built for both of them, I think Hamilton smokes Leclerc. Even though I love Leclerc, he's one of my favorite drivers, and Hamilton's like almost there. Leclerc is great, he's phenomenal, but Lewis Hamilton can make any car that's decent phenomenal. Unlike Max, Max needs a very specific setup to just kick ass. Hamilton's like, give me a decent car, I got you. Again, at least that's how he was. I feel like not anymore, based on how he's been doing with Mercedes and him and George being really close. But again, I think Mercedes might be sabotaging him, so that's in its own sort of area. But yeah, who are they going to prioritize? Is it going to be Leclerc? Is it going to be Lewis? Like, how are they going to decide? The Fatosi definitely would want it to be Leclerc, but if you want consistent results, you probably want to give it to Lewis. So it's this question of who are they going to prioritize, and whether it will be Lewis Hamilton or let me know what you guys think. If I'm thinking from the angle of Fred Vasseur, I think this will be like F1 / Ferrari discussion. Anywho, we're still talking about Lewis. Um, I don't know. I mean, there's so many ifs and buts. We'll just have to wait and see. Ferrari's inconsistent. They're good, they're bad. Right now they're in a good spot, but again, we'll have to find out after the triple header when other changes are made to other cars. I mean, already McLaren seems to be up their ass because what's his face? Norris like overtook Charles. So Charles, Charles, overtook Charles. So is the car good? Like there's so many ifs and buts. Um, but again, my biggest concern is Hamilton or Charles, Hamilton or Charles, Hamilton or Charles. Who do you pick? Um, to sort of fill up that seat. Secondly, this main reason is Carlos Sainz is now going to Williams, which is shocking because the driver of his caliber, his skill level, his talent is being relegated to a midfield team again. And we don't even know if he's going to be able to get back into a top team after 2 years because there are going to be so many rookies. Again, okay, like that's a whole other William episode about Carlos and Williams and like what I think will happen with him. But again, like he literally got booted out of his seat. He's had such a phenomenal season, 2 race wins, Australia and Mexico. And as much as people like to say, "Oh, Leclerc's like outshining him," listen, they're both talented drivers. Leclerc is outclassing him. Leclerc is a generational talent. Let's get that out there. Leclerc is a generational talent. There's no doubt in that. The issue is Leclerc is not consistent. He'll give you great races, he'll give you wins, but then he'll have extreme duds because he tries to push the car that's not ready to be pushed. You know? Carlos knows whether or not the car can be pushed and how far I can go, how far I can push it, and how far I can just like, you know? So that's my biggest thing is again, they're the perfect like two number one drivers. You know, people claim like Carlos is the number two driver. No, no. The only team that has a number two driver that I can think of is honestly just Red Bull. Red Bull. Red Bull is the only team that has it, and Stroll are the only ones that have number two drivers. With Stroll, again, you have Cesar number two driver, but you have Stroll who's Nepo baby, but like he's talented but not phenomenal. And then you have Fernando Alonso, who is phenomenal, right? So that's kind of like a number one, number two. Same thing with Red Bull. Again, we'll have a whole episode dedicated to Red Bull and their whole like shit fest that's going on. But yeah, so they're both number one drivers, and the thing is, they balance each out. They balance each other out in a way where wherever Leclerc fails, Carlos is there to pick up slack. Where Carlos fails, Leclerc is there to pick up slack, right? They balance each other out, which is why that pairing works so well on track. Media wise, I don't know. Ferrari loves to do media. Lewis, not so much. Maybe he might change when going into Ferrari. We don't know. He's learning Italian, obviously. But, but yeah, like, I feel like with Lewis, you have Lewis Hamilton, you have to prioritize him, right? Like, would you not prioritize Lewis Hamilton? Hold on, let's do Lewis. Let's look at some online forums. Okay, let's look at some forums and sort of have a discussion because, okay, see here. Okay, Lewis Hamilton could end up joining. I mean, okay, Ferrari shot from third to second, overtaking Red Bull. Yeah. Okay. Like, that's common sense. Okay, another thing I'm seeing a lot of here. Okay, like, look, here's the thing, right? Like, I understand that, Leclerc and not Leclerc, sorry. I understand that, uh, what's his face? Okay, look, I understand that with Hamilton is like an upgraded version of Carlos. They're both technical drivers who are really talented. And obviously Hamilton is Hamilton. There's like no one's at his level, Max maybe, but Lulu is Lulu for a reason. So, I'm skeptical that, he'll be that, you know, obviously I feel like for the Constructors' Cup, that's obviously the best because you have Lewis Hamilton who can give you the most out of a car and give you consistent, amazing results. And you have Leclerc who can give you occasional phenomenal results and then a little bit of few duds here and there. Um, Obviously with Carlos, there are a lot few amazing moments compared to Lewis, but still amazing results. So I don't know. I mean, they've positioned themselves to really good for the Constructors' Cup. To be honest, this year itself in 2024, hopefully they take it. I would love that if Carlos is a part of that, but if not, I definitely think Lewis can help them do it. But I don't know. Ferrari might shit the bed. Um, as they do. Actually, let me. You know what? Let's do Lewis Benotto. No, Benotto. Benotto. Okay, I can't find that tweet, but yeah, like Benotto himself said it is like I feel like it's a recipe for disaster if we're being consistently honest with ourselves. Because who who in their right mind, Fred Vasseur, I'm talking to you. It's like, oh my god, like Fatosi love Leclerc. Ferrari fans love Leclerc. You're good. People love Hamilton. I love Hamilton. But if you have a world championship position, who are you going? Like, if you believe Leclerc is the person to win it, then why would you bring in Hamilton? Why would you bring in someone who is literally going to fight him for it? Who will fight? Who will beat him for it? Like that makes absolute no sense. Again, I've seen the sentiment online that Lewis is washed. No, I think we've seen this year when you give him a car that's good, he can absolute kick ass. I mean, okay, let's look at Silverstone. Look here, okay, okay. Russell DNF'd, but okay, again, Lulu, amazing. I mean, that was really close. That was really close. Actually, if you go to Austria, where did Lewis? Where the is? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Where the heck is Lewis? Okay, here. Look here, right? So, sprint race. Or is it because he didn't? I think it might be a sprint race. Hotel bedroom. Okay, so, okay, all right. Like you look at the British GP, they're pretty close to each other. The car was in a phenomenal state, but again, it's like, who really? Again, there's so many ifs and buts. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But as much as I'm interested by the idea of Lewis going to Ferrari, I'm also scared. Now let's talk about Ferrari themselves. Okay, look. Now let's talk about Ferrari. Now that we've talked about Lewis Hamilton and sort of the Ferrari dichotomy, I think Ferrari is in a very interesting space where even this year they have the chance to win a Constructors' Cup. I think they can take it if if Piastri has more false starts, which I don't think will happen. We'll have to wait and see. The last four races are really interesting. This entire season has just been absolutely bonkers. So much has happened this season. But yeah, regardless of that, we have to sort of be cognizant. I won't say cognizant, but you have to like what's the word that I'm looking for? I have no idea. Okay, I'm eerily optimistic for Ferrari because again, Lewis Hamilton, Leclerc on paper amazing, but you also have to consider the fact that you know again, I don't think financially there'll be no problem. Um, marketing wise, I don't think there'll be a problem. They might lose a few Spanish sponsorships, but it's Ferrari. Like Ferrari's like fuck you. I think that's a good thing for Williams, to be honest. We'll talk about that in the Carlos video. Um, but you know, oh my god, my beanie is like okay. Yeah, so you'll have to think about it. Okay. Yeah, so again, I don't think Fred has a lot of time left in Ferrari. I've like from people that I've spoken to that are like hardcore Ferrari fans and the Fatosi, I don't think they're gonna let a Frenchman tell them what to do for that long. So I think Fred, he's pushed the team in a phenomenal direction. I see him like a year or two max more, and then he's gone. Um, and in terms of Ferrari in general, the past 10 years have shown us Ferrari has its amazing highs, but it has its lowest lows. Like they fuck shit up all the time. And so I'm scared because I don't know what they're going to do next year, especially with 26. But, that I think that's enough about me ranting about Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton and being sad for Carlos. I have that's that.